All right, how's it going, everybody? This is Ismortah, and this evening during my Saturday 6 p.m. board game stream, mix it up and show you some still Star Wars action, but some classic Star Wars. I'm showing you Star Wars Escape from Death Star game. So as of a week ago, up to a week ago, I didn't even know this game even existed. This is a game that came out, if I recall, in 1977 or 78, a year or so after the original movie came out, the original Star Wars movie, Episode 4. So this is a classic, definitely the oldest board game I now have in my possession. And so I just wanted to share it with you and let you know what's in the box, what it's all about. So this will be unboxing as well as going through the rule set on how the game plays. We're not going to play the game, unbox, let you know what's in the game, and give you a sense on how the game is supposed to play. And of course, if you like what you see here, or any of my other streams, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe here on twitch.tv/Ismortah. Videos will be here, as well as on YouTube at Shadow Balance Games, and then updates to the calendar and content, like I did a content swap today, for example. Get the latest on Twitter at Shadow Balance. All right, let me get the chats up and dive in. Alrighty, so we got Star Wars Escape from Death Star. It's a little beat up when I luggage on the plane, but it's also a really old game. I know the wear you see here is just because how old it is, but I think the corners that got a little banged from transportation on the plane. But did you get some good shots? What it's all about? Four tractor beam cards. I don't recall seeing those cards in this box. Because I was like, here's a deck of cards, and there was four here. Makes me wonder if this game's potentially could be missing pieces. Maybe it's another reason why I acquired this game. We'll find out. All right. So, and if I recall, I was told the whole point of the game is exactly what that is. You're trying to escape the Death Star and be the first person to escape and return to the Rebel base. I just wonder where these tractor beam cards are. Maybe it's underneath. Anyway. All right, so let's unbox first. So you see here what we got. Here's a board. And I'll take into account that, this game came out, over 40 years ago. So it is going to be lower pretties as far as UI go. But, as far as like the icons and stuff, obviously they screen grab shots from the movie, which will look good. All right. Let's see what's stolen the shot. Pulls down a little bit. Let's see what else is in here. Because I don't recall seeing the tractor beam cards. Well, before I jump into this, here's an old sell sheet on other Star Wars things you can get that have all of the old school toys. Just pretty... yeah. Pretty old. Crazy. All right, so looks like you have a little spinner. This is like, where are the dials? Where are those things that it referenced? I don't see it. I wonder if this game is actually missing pieces. Unless these 4 cards here are tractor beam cards. Blueprints? Maybe so. Oh no, here's tractor beam. Oh, I see. Like I said, the quality of the cards is, 70s as opposed to New Millennium. All right. So we got, looks like this is all the cards. I'll go through how they're different. We have the spinner for determining stuff, and then these are all the standees, which I'll show you here in a sec. And that's basically it. So you have a board, a spinner, standees, and a deck of cards, of which there's a couple different types. All right. So let's finish the unboxing. Let me show you some close-ups of the board, and then I'll show you close-ups of what's in the other materials. So you see, it looks like, and I'll get into the rules. Looks like you're probably starting the trash compactor. You do stuff, probably disabling the tractor beams and stuff, freeing the princess, maybe getting the Millennium Falcon, fly away to Rebel Base, you win. So you're trying to race from here to here and do some objectives in order to advance. And I believe the movement is controlled by cards that you draw, possibly, or by the spinner. I believe it's both. Cool. Leave this out. All right. So here's the spinner. Again, we'll do a brief overview of the rules at the end of this. And so it looks like when you spin it, go to R2D2, maybe these are movements, and then also win-lose, which maybe when you're in different situations. The bottom, you have standees, and this is really an old school way of doing standees. Instead of having a double-sided printed cardboard piece that you would punch out, and it'd be that on both sides. Instead, what you have here is a thin single piece printed twice that you just fold, and then you put that on a standee. So it's old school way to do it, but it works. But you see, functionally it works just as well as the prior method I described, but doesn't look as good, right? And I'm not talking about the art that they used for the standee, just the quality of the piece itself. But it looks like there's, you can have, how many players can play this game? I just saw that. It was like 2, 4, and 6, maybe? What did I read there? I just read it. Oh, 2, 3, or 4 players. 2, 3, or 4 players. So there's so you have 4 different colors, and it looks like each color has 2 different groups of characters. You either have Luke and Leia, which is double-sided, or you have Chewie and Han. See how much bigger Chewie is than Han, and you have that for all the 4 different colors. So I don't know why you have 2 different groups of the blues, but maybe you trying to get the whole party together or something like that. We shall see. All right, and then lastly we have cards. So it looks like there's 3 different types of cards. Honestly, from a game design standpoint, if you have the cards have exactly the same back, at least, and the only difference is words, you should also at least have different colors. And they did for the blueprint versus the deck of force cards, I think it's what it is. But the tractor beam cards are also black. So game design wise, I would probably have made it like the fact that they all have black and the only difference is one of them is blue is maybe have like a different color for each different deck type. So you definitely know if you have it or not. But anyway, we have, get through it. We have 4 tractor beam cards, which looks like has the same image on all 4 on the back. It's basically just something you're satisfying in order to advance. You also have the Death Star blueprint. Same thing, there's only one picture. All 4 cards are the same. So it's like, if I had to venture a guess, you have to probably leave the trash compactor, free your friends, disable the tractor beam, get the plans, then get on the Millennium Falcon, fly away to the rebel base. That's what it looks like. And you have many different paths you can do it, but you have to satisfy all 3 conditions before you can get on board and leave. So it's pretty simple. It's actually a pretty simple game. Just run around, pick up and delivery. All right, then here you have a set of cards. That look like have different movements and different pictures. So on the main board, you had screen grabs from the movie. And the R2-D2 spinner. But for the standees and on all of the cards, they're not screen grabs. It looks like they're just like a cartoon artist drawings, like pencil sketches. So I felt like it's a little cheated because it could have been so much better if you had pictures too. But I know that since they're just movement cards that you didn't have to put much stock in it, it just, I don't know, would have made it more immersive if what you saw on the board as far as the quality was the same as the level of quality you see on the cards. But anyway, I digress. All right, so let me show you now what's on all these cards. I don't know if all these cards are the same or if there's any duplicates. Yeah, it looks like there's some duplicates of these cards. But I'll just show you the deck of cards. So, and it looks like some of these different types are in duplicate. It looks like these cards, they basically tell you affect how you move on the game board, just like the spinner. And we'll see in a second how to do it. So this is a pretty hefty deck. So I'll just show you each of these cards one by one. I won't bother reading because you can read as well. And there's a bunch of them. And like I said, some of these are in duplicate also. So you'll see some repeats. Just want to show you what all is here. Try to move my thumb so you can read as well. And what's cool of these cards, instead of just doing R2-D2, I'm assuming, and you move, if that's when you do R2-D2, the fact that these movement cards also coincide with something that happens on the Death Star is pretty cool. So it does add a little bit of immersion on, hey, you move somewhere, or you move backwards, or stuff happens to you. Kind of like a Monopoly community chest, where it's not that you just get money, there's some sort of context on why you get the money or why you lose money. So that does add to immersion. Yeah, you can see on the bottom here the date stamp, 1977. That was a while ago. What, 45 years ago? I don't know. To be honest, now that I'm looking at this deck of cards in the black and white quality, it adds context, but the emphasis is more on what you do as opposed to the flavor. So I don't know. It is interesting, but style, like I said, I just would have kept the immersion so everything looks like it should be with each other. But I'm sure it did add more cost to the game having more copyright assets, I assume. Because, like, even here, when you're looking at the TIE fighters, you don't see different TIE fighter pictures. It's the same picture that it just rotated the image. And they do a different generic background for the stars. Obviously, the stars weren't that bright when you're seeing the movie, but it's the same TIE fighter in replicate or flipped, transposed. But, I mean, to be honest, the best games are simple on what you're supposed to do. And then just layered on how you do things you do. Like, the strategy should be difficult, sure. But on how to play the game, it's like, just tell me how to play the game. It should be easy. Or it should be layered so that you learn rules additional as you go. You don't need to know all of the rules ahead of time. Which is one of the reasons why Betrayal at House on the Hill is still one of my favorite games. Is not only because the deep immersion and how every time you play the game, it's totally unique with random houses. And if you make sure that every time you play, you do a totally different haunt, it's an entirely unique experience every time you play the game. But, God, I totally forgot my point. Shit. Like, that wasn't even my point. Shit. Yeah, I forgot. It was something else involving betrayal. Shit. That's alright. Yeah, I totally forgot what I was thinking. Oh yeah, it's the fact that in Betrayal, you only have to know how to move your dude, and then later, you need to know the more advanced rules on okay, how do you then battle, in addition to move, or as opposed to just knowing the rules for the rooms, now you have to know the rules for the haunt. So it's layered. You don't have to know everything before you play, just when you need to know. That's really the best way to do it. That way you know how to have fun, you keep having fun, and then you keep learning something a little bit new to keep it interesting. But if you rules dump somebody, that's like, oh my god. It's like you throw a textbook at somebody and say, have fun. Okay, bye. Whereas if you just give someone a factoid, this is how you shoot, this is how you jump, sort of thing. They're like, okay. My opinion on the topic, anyway. Yeah, so this is a huge deck. I'm just showing you all the cards. I guess I could have sorted this and showed you different types and showed how many of each type there is, but it looks like there's multiple of all these different cards, and there's maybe like, I don't know, 8 or 10 different types or something. There's a bunch. And it looks like these are called Force cards. Force being trademarked, of course. Of course, of Force. We're almost at the end of the deck. I'll go a little bit faster, since we've probably by now seen all the different types anyway. And that's one of the things you want to have staple in these games too, is let you know without going through it actually what's all the components that should be in the game. That way you know if you're missing a component or if you lost one of the 10 cards or something stupid. Right? Yes, games have evolved, but the whole reason games have evolved is because people start creating fun experiences and keep finding a way to make the experiences more fun. So it's all a process. Same with my game design. Is I want to be where I am today with my ideas and stuff if I hadn't gone through the process. So there you be. All right, 2 more cards. All right, so now let's take a look at what are these, as I'm alluding to, only because there's only 1 page here of rules and how you play the game. I mean, there's only 1 page of rules. My God. When's the last time you played a game that only had 1 page of rules? All right, so we have Force cards, Tractor Beam, and Death Star. That's what we got here. All right, so let's read what it is. So I'll just show you this, just so you have it in case you want to zoom in. But I'll read it to you. And I'll do this just so in case you want to screen capture, if you want to know for future reference. And pause. May the force be with you. All right. All right, so the object. Be the first player to reach the rebel base after escaping from the trash compactor of Death Star. Equipment. Game board, 8 playing tokens, 4 Death Star blueprint, 4 tractor beam, a spinner, and a deck of force cards. Preparation, which is basically game setup. Remove the tractor beam cards and Death Star blueprint cards from the pack and set in 2 piles to one side of board. Shuffle the force cards and place in the spinner dispenser. So that'd be here. Set up tokens as per diagram. Set up tokens as per diagram. What diagram? What are you talking about? What tokens? I don't even know what that means. Set up tokens per diagram. I have absolutely no idea what that means. Unless they mean how you set up the standee and where you put the cards. Otherwise, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. Okay, gameplay, 2, 3, or 4 players. Each player selects a color and places his 2 tokens, Luke, Leia, and Han Chewbacca, on the matching colored area in the trash compactor. Sorry, move this so you can see again. Actually, all right, so you start off here. Your colors, here. Each player spins. Highest number goes first and play continues to the left. So instead of using dice, using the spinner. Each player spins in turn and moves one of his tokens the number of spaces shown on the spinner. So you have 2 different dudes you're moving at the same time. So you don't have to have 1 dude you collect everything. It's like 2 dudes, looks like. Which is cool. It's kind of like the... yeah, it's cool. Each player spins in turn and moves one of his tokens number of spaces shown on the spinner. A move may not be split up between 2 tokens. You're only moving one or the other. Players can move a token backwards or forwards, but not opposite ways in the same turn. You can always turn corners as necessary. When moving tokens, the yellow Death Star coordinate spots count as normal spaces. I'm not sure why they designate those DS spots, but we'll see if that means something. If a player lands on a blue force spot, these light blue ones, he must draw a force card from top of the pile and carry out the instructions with that token. If you must return to the trash compactor, go directly there. Any other penalty, move back. Must follow the shortest route to the trash compactor. If a player draws an escape from detention block card, he may save it until it is needed, like a get out of jail in Monopoly. When a player is finished with a force card, he returns it to the back of the pile. So that's a good way to do it. So it just cycles back. So if you happen to go through the entire deck, which is unlikely, if you do, you don't also have a discard pile. It comes up again. It's not like anyone's going to keep track of it anyway. If a player draws a force card that tells them to go to the detention block, he can get out only by spinning a 3 or by presenting the escape from detention block force card. No other force card can free a player out of the detention block. So to reiterate, whenever you go backwards, you go toward the trash compactor. Okay? But if you go into the detention block, you have to do a certain thing to get out. If a player draws an escape from detention block card, he may save it until it is needed. When a player is finished with a force card, he returns to the back of the pile. If a player draws a force card that tells him to go to the detention block, he can get out by spinning a 3 or by presenting the escape from... I just read that. While one piece is in the detention block, the other piece may move. If he does not spend a 3 in 3 turns, the imprisoned token can leave the detention block on the player's next turn. So if you're there for 3 turns, you can leave. My gameplay critique is, how do you keep track that you've been there for 3 turns? That's kind of a problem. Especially if you have like 2 characters go there for some reason, then it's like, how do you keep track? How you can keep track? That's a quality of life thing. It's not that, you can't keep track. It turns into a memory game, right? You want to make sure everyone knows how long you've been there. But I don't think there's anything saying here on how you get out of the trash compactor. I think when you go at the trash compactor, you can just get out. That's just where you start. Where you're imprisoned is here. You have to do special things to leave. Okay, no two tokens may occupy the same spot. If you land on a spot where there's no token, you may send it back to the detention block or stop on the empty space before that token. Wow. So if I'm on DS3 and you move to DS3, you can either choose to stop one before me, or you could stop on me and you force me to go to detention block. So if you land someone else, you could force them to be imprisoned. But they also give you the option to be short, because what if you move to your own space where you had your other dude? You want to make sure that you don't want to send your own dude to the detention block. That's probably why that rule's there. Before moving to a Millennium Falcon, all players must accomplish a special mission. You must collect a Death Star blueprint by landing one of your tokens on the control space room, and a tractor beam card by landing a token on the tractor beam space. After completing this mission, tokens move onto the Millennium Falcon in the following turns. If you do not spend the exact number, get as close as you can and wait until you get a 1. Okay, so you have to be exact. You can't say, I'm here, roll a 3, you make it on. You have to roll the exact number. So even though people are racing to Millennium Falcon, you have an opportunity to effectively land on that space and then force them back to the detention block because they didn't roll the exact number. And so, for example, if you're here and you roll a 3, you would stop here. It negates all of your movement until you roll the exact number. So if I rolled a 2, I can go there. But if I rolled a 3 or a 1, I'd stop short. What that means is there's an opportunity, even though people have got to Millennium Falcon, they can still intercept and send back to the detention block. So that's a cool design thing. So that way, if someone's ahead of you, it's like a catch-up mechanism. So that's an interesting idea. When both of a player's tokens reach the Millennium Falcon, he is ready to travel through hyperspace. And you move the 2 tokens as one because they're both on the same ship. When both of the player's tokens reach the Millennium Falcon, he is ready to travel through hyperspace. Once your tokens reach the Millennium Falcon, they are no longer affected by force cards. The Millennium Falcon space is the only safe space on the board. If the player's tokens get sent back from hyperspace, they only move back to the Millennium Falcon. So when you're here, you could go touch a block, you could go back Trash Compactor. Once you're on the Millennium Falcon, you're not affected by any cards. And if anything happens where you're out here, you just go back to here. So it's kind of like a save point, like in video games. Players may enter hyperspace at any one of the 3 entry points. You may move directly forward or diagonally, but not sideways or backwards. So you can move like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sort of thing. If you land on a TIE Fighter, you must engage in a dogfight. You spin to see if you win or lose. So you use this to move. You also lose to see if you win or lose the battle. If you lose, you return to the Millennium Falcon. If you win, you can move both space pieces 1 space forward or diagonally. And it's sort of like a push your luck, it sounds like, because when you win, if you move the land on one of these and you win, you can advance again. And if you advance to another dogfight, you can gamble. And if you win, you can advance again. But if you lose, you go all the way back. So even here, like someone could have been first to come here, stop you, intercepts, and goes forward first, but then if they get destroyed, they go back. So it's like it's almost like a whole nother game that starts up. Or it's really a press your luck. It's like, do you want to move around the ships, or do you want to chance fighting the ships, because if you win, you get more free moves. But if you lose, you go all the way back. So that's definitely a push your luck. It's interesting. But like it says here, if you keep moving to TIE Fighter spaces and win all dogfights, you can move through hyperspace in 1 turn. So push your luck.
I don't know that.
Shut up, Alexa. The first player to arrive at the Rebel base by exact count or by winning the last dogfight wins. So to win the game, you have to either, just like here, you have to get the exact number to advance. You either have the exact number to get to the Rebel base, or if you kill the very last ship, you immediately go to the Rebel base. So you can move safely here and then 50-50, see if you get to Rebel base, or here you get the exact movement you need. Boom. And that's the game. So it's interesting, like I said, it's 1 page of rules, but it has lots of complexity on what you actually do in this game, even though what you do is really simple. You move, you collect stuff, you get cards that tell you what happens to you, and there's a condition on how you get here, and then you have a pressure luck, and another condition on how you get here. That's the game. But yeah, so who knows? Maybe in the future we'll do a playthrough of this if we get something to play with. But it is interesting, and definitely maybe something that could get a revamp since it's been so long, an improved version of this game. Who knows? Or something like it. Well, thanks for watching and sticking with me. This is the classic Star Wars board game. Like I said, the oldest board game currently in my possession, and happy to share this with you. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you like to see, you want to see more of my content. Again, this is Ismortah, and I'll catch you next time.